So here's a second little short. This one is Henry Garrido. Want you to hear Henry's voice this time.
Okay, so folks, let me just, there are a couple of things that have been said that I think need to be said. Well, first of all, it's important for us to own our own mistakes.
Yep.
But hindsight is always 20/20. But we each union have been taking $165 out of this fund since 2014 for actors and retirees. The reason we were able to cover retiree prescription.
And that's crazy because that's really the only thing that we get.
$500 million still has no premium. So let's not pretend that this is something that came out of nowhere because of Medicare that we're passing it on. We've been doing this. Taking $100 million, right? Rightfully or wrong, that has been handled, right? Secondly, we have thousands of people who are taking advantage of the PICA program. Chemotherapy, drugs, injectable medications that as of July 1st, there's no funding for. So if you're going to vote no, and you can, that's the democratic process, up or down, I would suggest respectfully that you have a solution, an alternative, right? Because we've been at this for years. And
so the problem is he is okay with basically killing the stabilization fund, whose sole purpose was to finance premium for active workers and under 65 retirees, even though it's being drained, a large portion of it, because of the PICA program. The PICA program is that drug program that only provides medications to active workers and non-Medicare retirees. And that PICA stands for psychotropic injectable cancer or chemotherapy and asthma drugs. Right now, that program only is defined by the middle two letters, IC, injectables and chemotherapy. These are $1,000 worth of drugs, but they give them to to employees for nothing, right? And this fund is what pays for the cost of those medications, but it has become a major drain on the health insurance stabilization fund. Why would you destroy a fund that was meant to finance your health premium, to finance a drug program? What they should have done was allowed that fund to stay to finance your health care premium, the difference between HIP and GHI, and put a small rider like $5 or $10 across the board on the PICA program, or put it back into medical or back in the welfare funds where it was, or half and half. Put some of it back into the medical program and some of it through the welfare funds. That would have been the smart thing to do, rather than sink a fund whose sole purpose was to finance your health care. Because what good is having a drug program if you don't have health insurance? And you see where their focus is. The stabilization fund, the stabilization fund, the stabilization fund. And he admits they took money out of it wrongly. Rightfully or wrongfully, every union took $165 out of the fund for their welfare funds per person. This is why we keep saying, the unions used to protect us. It is the leadership that is the problem. That means DC 37 is a problem. Henry Garrido should never have sold off retiree health care, should never have agreed to the teachers union taking $1 billion out of the health insurance stabilization fund for teacher raises. Teachers deserve raises, 100%. No one will ever argue with that. But you don't take it out of the health fund. That's what its purpose was for. We have asked for an investigation into this by both the Oversight and Investigations Committee at the City Council from Gail Brewer, and we've also said it in testimony, personally said by me, before the Civil Service and Labor Committee meeting back in January before Carmen De La Rosa. And still, no one wants to look at the misuse of the stabilization fund. And in order for money to come out of it, it needs to be mutually agreed upon between the city and the MLC. And because there's no money, or there's a deficit now, where they're saying it's about $600 million a year, which would be about $1 billion by this point. They sold off retiree health insurance, Medicare-eligible retirees, in order to finance the stabilization fund. And you don't have to believe me. There's a memo about this right on the OLR website that says that they didn't need to sell off retiree health care and put retirees into Medicare Advantage to meet the benchmark savings that they had in the 2018 agreement. They did it to finance the stabilization fund. Pass retiree health care. It's about time someone looked out for the retirees because no one's looking out for us. And do an investigation on the health insurance stabilization fund and make sure that someone is putting rules in place in how that fund could be used going forward. Have a great day.